Yeah, man, I'm super happy to be here. I will have all the listeners note that if you do hear some noise in the background, it's because my apartment is being cleaned. So, like, I'm hearing vacuum noises. I hope it's not too loud. But
Nah, I haven't heard anything yet.
I have my setup here. I'm also noticing it's a little dark where I'm at. So let me turn on this light right here so that we can get. Well, oh, there we go. That looks a little bit better. Cool. So yeah, no, I'm stoked to be here. I'm trying to adjust my chair. Yeah, it's stuck. Okay. All right. I'm back. Let's do this. So
Perfect.
I'm excited to be here. I've been a friend of Ryan's forever, and Ryan is like, a big reason why I do what I do now. In fact, like, there's a good chance that I would be like trying to be a personal trainer in a gym somewhere if I hadn't met Ryan and he showed me like, the real potential of doing stuff online. And then through him, I got introduced to a ton of people that I still work with today. And it's been great. So like any opportunity I get to give back and kind of share what I've learned is, I'm stoked about it. And, the big thing is like, I think Ryan has like, tons of people who have, learned from him and like our real life case studies. And I'm another one of like, without Ryan's information, I certainly wouldn't be where I am. And so like to the people listening, I think I just want to reinforce the fact that like the dude knows what he's talking about, so I hope that you guys are listening to what Ryan says, because he's been doing this for 10 plus years, and that's like an insanely long time in the internet world. And so, there's a reason why he's still around. Anyway, long story short, I'm ready to rock. So I'm happy to dive in on this free shipping funnel and show you guys how we've sold so many of these bad boys.
Yeah, let's just dive right into it.
So the context for us starting a free plus shipping product was that we were working with a chef, and his name is Peter Servold. He runs a business called Pete's Paleo, which delivers paleo meals nationwide. So they ship like pre-made stuff that you just warm up, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing, by the way. It's super delicious. And we were going to do a product with him that was going to be like a DVD type like cooking instructional thing. And during that process, I started to get a little nervous that like, our audience isn't like a big system type product purchasers. Like it's in the health world, most people seems to be like low price impulsive buys versus like, here's the complete system on how to fix this problem or whatever. That and some people buy that stuff, but it's a little bit harder to sell. And so like, because this was one of our first like people that we were publishing, and like I really cared about that relationship, and I wanted to make sure that like at the end of this project they weren't like, that was great, I'm really happy we sold like 20 copies of the product that we worked on for like 8 months. I wanted to make sure it was a home run. So we I kind of thought about it and was trying to figure that out, and the idea kind of was dropped into my lap because Diana Culian, who is Bedros Culian's wife, they released a free plus shipping cookbook, and as a prelude to selling it on Amazon, great cookbook, by the way, called The Recipe Hacker. I eat a lot of the recipes in there regularly, actually. And they did the free plus shipping thing and sold like 15,000 copies in like, I don't know, a month maybe, or like in a very short period of time. Maybe it was 2 weeks. Actually, it was shorter than 2 weeks, because I remember we were going to promote it, and like I got emailed about it on like a Tuesday, and I was like, okay, I'll promote it on Thursday. And by Thursday, it was completely out of stock, and they had purchased like 15 to 20,000 copies. So I'm like, there's something here. And so like I said, they did it as like a prelude to selling the book on Amazon, which is where it sells now. And I think they went through a publisher as well. So my thoughts were like, let's do that, except let's skip the Amazon and skip the publisher thing, and just, because like it sold a ton, but then they ran out of stock. So I'm like, okay, if we just cut out a publisher, then we can have infinite stock of our cookbooks and we can buy more. It's not like we have to get approval from a publisher to print more copies. We can just print as much as we want and keep selling it. So I called up Pete I was in Eden, Utah, at the top of Powder Mountain, where there was cell service was bad, because I was talking to Mike Geary, my business partner, who's also someone who kind of came from the Ryan Lee tree, and I was like, hey, what if we turn Pete's product into a free plus shipping book? And he's like, oh my God, that's a great idea. Or it might have been him giving me the idea and me saying it was a great idea. One of us came up with it. More likely him. He's really the smarter one. So I called Pete on the spot and was like, hey, what if we take your DVD and we make it an upsell for a free plus shipping cookbook? And I kind of explained to him how he had seen it work so well. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So after a long period of book production, I'm much better at this process now, creating physical books. It was my first time doing it, and so like a lot of the steps of the book production took forever. I mean, we had a designer that was good, but you know, it took a little bit longer than I wanted to. But anyway, long story short, after like a crap load of time preparing on this thing, we finally had it ready, and so we launched it October 21st, and it's now September 29th. And I'm not going to take the time to log into my MariPost account because that'll be like 3 minutes of me fiddling around on my computer. But I can tell you we've sold something like 130 to 150,000 copies of this. And it's been a year. It's been almost exactly a year. I mean, we're about 3 weeks out from being a year. And the crazy thing about this offer is that we're still selling like 200 to 300 cookbooks a day. We've been doing that for a full year. And like at some point I was like, damn, like when has everybody bought this thing? You know, like when does it start to tail off? But that never happened. It continues to sell because this type of offer has such a high conversion rate, and affiliates make so much money that they're promoting it all the time. So, and I mean, we want a little bit of paid traffic to it. We don't do direct sales through paid traffic, but we will do some campaigns where we sell it through an autoresponder. And we have a couple of other people actually that are affiliates that do paid traffic campaigns for lead gen and then have us in their autoresponder and sell a lot of copies that way. So it's been really great. Trying to think if there's any other context I need to give on this. It's just like this model is just fantastic. So that's the context. That's why we did it. I'm super happy we've done it. It's easily our best selling product. There is in our business in dates there's AD and BC. That's basically the same thing as like there was a before October 21st, 2015, and there's an after October 21st, 2015. And the after looks infinitely better than the before. I mean, it really was like, I don't want to say overnight because, you know, obviously it took us, first it took us like 8 months to build the cookbook and the whole funnel. But also like, you know, it was like 3+ years of the business as well to get us to that point where we actually have the relationships and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in the ClickBank account, at least you can see like everything before that date is like a certain amount of sales, and then everything after that date is like 10 times that much, and it just stayed that way. So it works. So I'm happy to get into the nitty-gritty details of this.
Yeah, let's dive into some of it. And the first question I was going to mention on there, because I know some people are saying, well, free plus shipping, you know, so that there's two parts to it. So free plus shipping, how the hell do I make money off of that? And then the second part being, how does an affiliate make money off of that? And I know those are probably two questions people are thinking, well, what's that do for me?
Yeah, so there's a few answers to. We'll start with how do we make money from that. So the core goal of this type of offer is not to maximize profit. I mean, obviously that's like, you know, we want to make as much profit as possible, but that's not the main objective of this offer. Because this is like extremely low price. The average order value, honestly, for us is between like $13 and $15, which like from other people who sell free plus shipping, I think ours is actually kind of low apparently, but I guess it makes up for it on the actual volume of sales. So anyway, this isn't like a big profit booster as much as it is just getting customers on the front door in the widest net, the biggest way possible. And so to speak to that, our conversion rate on the front end of this in terms of like from an email to sale is anywhere from 10 to 27%. So we've had someone send us 1,000 clicks and made 270 sales. So 27% sale conversion rate, which is like, I've never seen anything that high for a book in my entire life. But before you get super excited about that, you know, about like a super high conversion rate, note that like on average, when we have an affiliate promote, like maybe we make $1 per sale, maybe a little bit more on the front end, just in that first purchase of like front end offer, upsell 1, 2, 3, and thank you page. And then we make more money in the back end as well. So the core of it is to just get as many people in the front door as possible. So like I said, we'll either be break even or make $1. And then on the back end, we have a 30-day autoresponder sequence where they go through and they get sold our other products, and we engage with them and we indoctrinate them and we get people like, feeling it, being a part of our community. Excuse me. And then after that, they go into kind of our main broadcast list where we sell them other stuff as well. So,
which people can check the past recording you and I did, because we went into a lot of that aspect of it with all of that stuff too. So,
the monetizing the back end.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's more so you're making the money off of not the initial sell. It's the first one, like the free shipping. The free plus shipping is just like as Ryan talks about and we talked about in the last call, more like the welcome mat. Kind of the here you go, here's who we are. And then within them checking out, you have a couple upsells.
Yeah, so I'll go through that. Yeah, so here's the deal. So on the front end, it's $5.99 for shipping. And that basically, like, assuming there's no affiliate commissions there, like let's just say it's us selling it internally, that basically covers our costs of printing, shipping, and fulfillment. By the way, the difference between shipping and fulfillment is actually packing the thing into the box, and that's like 25 cents or 50 cents a book or whatever, and then shipping is the actual shipping cost. So that $5.99 basically covers our printing, shipping, and fulfillment, and then the upsells just add even more profit. But when we have an affiliate gets 75% commission. We can't do 90%. We do 90% with our digital products, but we can only do 75% on this because like we're already so tight as it is. We can't.
Yeah, margins on physical are a lot. It's a lot harder to give those high commissions than a digital.
Yeah, and we can't be losing $3 on every sale, because then we're losing basically like $1,000 a day, and that's I don't really want to be doing that, and we don't have to. So and affiliates make so much money with 75% anyway that like. It would be great. I mean, I'm sure they'd be stoked if we upped their commission rate, but then we'd be like losing our ass. So in that scenario where there's an affiliate, they get 75%, which is like $4, $4.25 or something of the $5.99. So only basically of the front end, like $1 or so goes towards our printing, shipping, and fulfillment costs, which probably are about like $5 a book or something like that. Maybe a little bit less, somewhere in that range. So we have to make up that initial loss with the upsells. And so the upsells, basically the core goal at the very base level of our upsells, which are the one-click upsells that are after, like, so you check out, you land on a page, it says, thanks for purchasing, here's a special one-time offer for some more stuff. And then if they click add to cart, it automatically charges their card, or they click no thanks and they're taken to another upsell and then another upsell. So we have 3 total. The goal of those upsells is basically just to make back our expenses in that purchase. So like at the very core, we want to be break even. Like I honestly, being profitable is great, but I'm okay with it being break even because I know that we can make we'll make more money on the back end. So everything, as long as we don't lose a ton of money up front, it's fine. But affiliates also get 75% commission on the upsells as well. So right now our upsells are all digital. We're going to be testing doing those as physical, and we'll probably have to up the price to make up for the cost. But our upsells are all digital, and they're just designed to make up that cost. And then after they purchase, they go through the autoresponder sequence and whatnot, which tries to make up even more for that. So when we have affiliates come through, like I said, we're basically shoot to be about break even, but sometimes we'll make like 50 cents to $1 a book, depending on how well the upsells convert. And then, so in terms of how affiliates make money, like I said, they get 75% all the way through. They get 75% of the shipping cost, and then they also get 75% of all 3 upsells. And then in the autoresponder sequence after they purchase, we don't use affiliate links until after like 2 weeks or so, but we run them through kind of a bunch of offers of our own products. So we try to get affiliates and back-end commissions there as well.
And then if an affiliate sends someone your way, they only make money off that initial process. Anything after that, they're not making.
No. What I'm saying is they'll make money on that initial funnel, but then they also make money on the autoresponder sequence for customers. Only the first like 2 weeks or so, only for when we're selling them our internal products.
Yeah. Okay.
So their cookie will last. But then after that, we start promoting other stuff that they can't get commission for because it's not necessarily our products.
Then it's kind of the stuff that you guys are affiliate promoting, basically, in a way.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
And the other thing that's kind of important to note in terms of the value of this funnel for us is that we also have an email capture on the sales page that captures emails for the purpose of if they opt in to try to purchase and they don't purchase, we have an abandoned cart sequence that's like, hey, like, did we screw up or was there an issue with your order? And then we try to get them to buy from there. But the thing is with that is that let's say a lot of people don't convert for whatever reason, they're now on our list anyway, so we can sell them other stuff. So the abandoned cart part of this process was an enormous value because it basically turns our sales page into a squeeze page that converts at 25%, if that makes sense. So if we get 1,000 visitors, 250 of them opt in, but then like 100 of those end up buying. So we end up there with like 150 extra leads.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That you can try and save the sale, or they're just a lead that how much a lead is to you guys anyway, so how much you have potential to make them.
So the thing is on top of the fact that we sold like 130 to 140,000 copies of this thing, we also added another 100,000 plus people to our list from the abandoned cart sequence. And that is like, I mean, that basically pays for the whole thing. If we had like kind of net loss on everything else, the leads alone would have been like, paid for the whole thing, because that's not an insignificant number of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the core mechanics or the economics of the funnel, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have? I know we were talking about some visual examples. Do you have anything that everybody can kind of see?
Yeah.
How you're doing the offers? How you do like the regular and then the couple upsells?
Yeah. Let me open this up and then I will share my screen. Let me exit Slack so there's no notifications. There we go. Whoops. Sorry. That was the video that we have on the sales page. And let me share my screen. We'll do share screen. Desktop 1. All right. Can you see it okay?
Yep.
Okay. Just disregard all the porn in the background.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yep. It's like our social sharing buttons are hiding for some reason. It's interesting. Well, anyway, you'll note that this page it's not super fancy. I don't find this page to be particularly fancy. I think it's good. I think it does the job, but like it doesn't. And with free plus shipping stuff, it doesn't need to have a lot because
offer's so good already.
Yeah, I mean it's like, here's a cookbook for just shipping. Like people are like, yeah, whatever. It's very much an impulse purchase.
Yeah.
So I'll just like run down this whole page. So the first thing, and just from top down, the first thing is that on all of our sales pages, we have a phone number in the top right. The reason why is because we've noticed that it boosts conversions when you have it, like usually by 10 to 15% as opposed to not having it. The reason why this boosts conversions is because like it's legitimacy, just that you have a phone number that people can call. You're a real company if you have a phone number. And
no way, we're online. We're not real.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, it's true though. Most people don't want to do it because they're like freaking out. And but here's the thing: is like we don't actually have phone support because we're just not built for that yet. It's something that I've been thinking about as we grow. So what that actually does is it goes to an automated message. I think this one I actually had Pete record an audio that's like, "Hey, it's Pete. Thanks so much for interested in Paleo Eats." It's saying my internet connection's unstable.
Nope, I think that was mine. It's still fine.
Okay, cool. It was saying, it's like, "Hey, my name is Pete. Thanks so much for interested in Paleo Eats. Unfortunately, we can't take orders over the phone at this time, but if you order on our website, you can feel safe and secure with purchasing because it's backed by 256-bit military-grade encryption security, which is like I don't actually know if it's military grade, but it's encrypted because that's every checkout is encrypted. And actually we don't have a guarantee on this one because it's a shipped book, but yeah, it's basically like we don't take orders over the phone, but you can feel safe and secure ordering our cookbook online at our website. Thanks so much for your interest. If you need something, please, you can leave a voicemail or email us at support@paleohacks.com. So that actually does let people leave a voicemail, and that goes to our customer support person, and they respond that way. But we don't actually take like inbound calls and have someone pick them up just because we don't have the infrastructure for it.
Yeah.
Long story short, having the phone number up there is great for conversions. You can just set it as a recorded message and you're good to go. Okay, next we have this big yellow call-out pre-headline. Just something we've tested. It worked. I don't have anything really to say on it aside from the fact that because it's yellow that people are going to see it and it's going to do great. The limited stock, this is something that we added in recently because it converted better. By the way, the one thing you should know is that we are split testing this page constantly. Because it has 300 plus sales a day, we can run a new split test every 2 to 3 days. So we're constantly testing to improve this page and the funnel in general.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome with people that say oh, do I need to split test this and that? Not really until you have some good traffic going. It's kind of what we tell people. Don't worry about it if you're just getting your first one up. Once you start getting some sales and you start getting a little bit more traffic, then tweak, 1 or 2 little things and split test and then start growing from there. But we get a lot of people always asking, well, should I split test this, and this? It's no, start with kind of one. Don't split test a million things at the beginning if you're just getting started.
Yeah, my thoughts on split testing are pretty similar. It's basically if you don't really have a lot of traffic yet, then spending a lot of time overthinking what you're going to split test and setting up the tech for that, which can be a huge freaking hassle. I wouldn't recommend dealing with that. Just get something up, get some money in the door, get some sales. When you start to get traction though, and you're starting to make sales on a regular, consistent basis, this is what separates the children from the adults. And I really mean that, is the people I know that don't split test their offers and don't optimize their offers burn out probably twice as fast or 3 times as fast because they're not testing to convert. Honestly, even when we run split tests where a new test doesn't beat the old test, because we're just running, we've seen that just the act of running a split test boosts your conversions, just because it changes up the page. I don't actually know the real reason why that is, but it's something that once you're ready for it is definitely worth diving into, because this is the one platform in the freaking universe, at least on Earth that I know, that allows you to get data in real time and optimize accordingly. That is an opportunity that should not be passed up. And in regards to what you should split test, one thing that people get into is they try to do multivariate tests where they're split testing, you're saying, split testing 3 or 4 things simultaneously, or trying all sorts of different random shit. Don't do that. The big thing with split testing is you want to test big to small. So basically our split test process, if I had more copywriting resources, we'd do more copy tests. But so an ideal scenario for split testing, and again, this is after you're getting traffic or after getting sales, don't dive into this stuff until you're at that point. That's more important. Is I would test different initial hooks and different leads. For example, I would potentially, on this one, I would try a whole different area here, or even a totally different video. And then once or if I was doing this is probably more on a non-free plus shipping offer, because free plus shipping is because it's a free plus shipping thing, it's going to convert pretty much no matter what. You know what I mean? On a different offer, you can try different hooks of the main appeals. And then once you find the main appeal that's working well, then you focus on that. So that's what I would kind of start with, is a big copy differences. And then I would get into price split testing. So that's something that we do a ton of, especially, and so with the free plus shipping stuff, that was key because, we did $7.95 for shipping versus $5.99. And even though $7.95 generates, we get more money in and we can cover costs more, the conversion rate dropped enough. And affiliates made less money, so we ended up keeping the $5.99. So we do a lot of price testing. And then once we kind of find our price testing, we'll do our price testing on our upsells, and we'll try different upsell sequences. And then once we've got our good upsell sequence, we'll do headlines. And then from there, it's just like adding little tweaks like the phone number and like, this.
It's getting it takes taking some time to get a really good system and offer down, and then now how to improve it. It's not as easy. It's not impossible, but it takes work. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. It takes time, takes tweaking.
It's a ton of work.
Some patience for it.
It's a huge amount of work. And I think like, it's something that like, this is all going to sound incredibly overwhelming if someone doing it for the first time. But the general entrepreneurial realization I've had is like, ultimately, like, if you look at something like that I'm showing you, or someone else that you do an interview with that shows you, that's like, you're just like, Jesus Christ, like that's so much work. Like I don't even know if I'll ever know all that information. The truth is like, I've been doing this for like 5+ years, right? And so like each year I get a little bit smarter, or each day, hopefully I get a little bit smarter and I learn a new thing, and it just gets add on incrementally. And then we get to this point where I'm like running through this like insanely long process of split testing. But that's only because it took me like multiple years of learning to get there where I can be like super nonchalant about it. But anyway, to bring my rant back to this, the long story short is it's getting more and more competitive online, right? And like Matt is saying, you want to focus on just getting your offer up, period, because most people never even get that far. And then once you're there and you're driving a little bit of sales, then it's, if this really wants to be your thing and you really want to kick ass, I know a lot of people that don't split test and they make good money, but I can tell you that it's something that once you really get your stuff in place and you have cash flow coming in and something you can think about, it's highly worth at least looking into. Like if you do it and you decide the tech is too much of a nightmare, like it's not going to really make or break your business necessarily, but it certainly, if you do it right, it can add a ton of value. So that's my ramble on split testing. I hope I didn't get too off track there.
No, it's good.
So we added in the limited stock thing because our traffic, 90% of the traffic coming to this is emails. And in the email copy that people send, it usually tells them that we have limited stock. So this is just reinforcing that, reinforcing some scarcity. This is a headline that we tested. I forget what our old one was, but just really focusing on the scarcity angle of this, of like it's physical, so there's limited copies. And then this is kind of the hook of just tasty, simple, gourmet restaurant-worthy paleo meals. So I hope this video isn't too loud. I'm going to turn my sound down a tiny bit, and hopefully it doesn't get too... I'm just going to show a couple seconds of this. Okay. But people can see this video at paleorecipeteam.com/paleo-eats, paleo-eats, sorry. And if you want, I can give you the URL and you can put it in wherever this interview is housed.
Yeah, awesome.
So you can hear it through the mic too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to take note of a few things in this video. And I'll play a little bit more, but then, we'll just have people actually look at it themselves. Notice how Pete said, "Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to my webpage." Okay? And when Pete gets on video, what's it called? His voice octave goes up a little bit, because he's like being super friendly. So the thing is, it's like our audience is like 35 plus, 45, actually 35 plus, like moms and stuff. So Pete is like the most harmless dude on earth. Like Pete in real life is a total badass, awesome. Like he's a real man. And Pete, if you're listening, I respect you. You're a man. But we do the video in a way that makes him seem like he's just Pete. Hey, I'm Pete, and I've got some great recipes that I want you to try. I'm a Le Cordon Bleu trained chef. I have 10,000 hours plus in the kitchen, and I've been doing this, for years and years and years. But it's very much like I'm your friend, and I've got this thing I want to give you. So I'll play a little bit more. And also, he's got the apron on. But actually, the funny thing about the apron, you might be able to see it if you look closely in the video, is I think the apron says like "fuck off" or something on it, but we flipped it upside down, and so you can kind of see the outline of the text. Notice that after the fact. Okay, so here's a little bit more. Okay, so the other big key with this specifically, because it's a cookbook, is food porn. And I got to tell you, aside from the fact that Pete is a very handsome and friendly expert chef, the food porn probably makes this video. And it's just literally just like drool, drool, drool. Buy our book for $5.99. Now that you're hungry now, just get our cookbook. You know, like let's do it.
You could do this at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could literally be eating this stuff right now. Like this is like pictures of stuff that you can make in the cookbook. So the video is basically like 2-3 minutes long at the most. It's super simple, and the whole thing with it is like it's not like a video sales letter. It's not those freaking PowerPoints. It's not like, and by the end of this video, you'll discover, but you'll have to sit through 48 minutes of me rambling about bullshit. It's just it's quick, and I wouldn't say it's dirty though. It's like I think this is very high production value.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, more than anything, I think this video makes the sale, though I really should test, like, we've tested not making it autoplay, and that it converts better when it's autoplay, but I actually should test getting rid of the video so I can really have my money where my mouth is. But I'm pretty sure that this video really makes the page. So it's just basically like Pete explaining, you know, why we created the cookbook, what it does, how it's helped him lose weight, how it's helped other people lose weight, some samples of the food. And then in the video, he also has the cookbook in his hand, and he's like, I want to send this to you for free. So that part, I think, is also extremely important, because it's like, this is a real cookbook. It's tangible, you know, and it's coming from me, Pete, you know, in my kitchen. So there's very much like a down-to-earth, like not overproduced, not like super corp. You know what I mean? Like it's your friend sending you something, and your friend just happens to be an amazing chef. So that, by the way, is a trend I've noticed. So like even though the production video value on this video is really high, it has very much a personal feel, I think. And I've noticed, especially like on Facebook with Facebook Live stuff, is that like the trend is less. I mean, and I think it's been like this forever anyway. Is like, this one is kind of clearly a marketing message, but I do think that like the more we can start to sell our stuff without looking like a typical advertisement or a typical marketing message, where it's just like your friend selling you something that they're passionate about, or your friend, you know, talking about something they're passionate about that also happens to be in a product that they're selling. Like, I think that's really kind of the wave of the future. I find that like Facebook Live, like you're in my kitchen and I'm gonna show you a recipe, that kind of thing, like that. That to me is like the new infomercial, basically. I encourage anybody who's selling stuff to like investigate that a bit. So
yeah, and we're starting to do more of that. Ryan started this week a show, building it from ground up, pretty much. Through there. So yeah, we're jumping more on the live as well now to kind of have that different angle. It's not a super spammy like sales, but it's also, you know, a little bit more of a production kind of with it, building a show where you could use it for building a product launch, like anything from that, and going live with it and kind of taking people through the process. So that I fully agree, because I think that's going to be a big way to do it. Instead of doing these email launch sequence and a webinar and this and that, is like you could literally do it on live and interact with people and start building the process right away with them.
The show idea that Ryan has is really cool. I saw it the other day, and I think the other thing that I really liked that he does was like, he's like, I'm walking around the track in New Canaan, and I want to do a live video there. There's that kind of engagement is like so personal. People build such insane rapport with that. Like, I was just talking to someone about this last night, is like, as we get more and more competitive online, and I feel like I've been saying that phrase for years now, as we get more and more competitive, and it just keeps getting more and more competitive, the people who are going to win are the people who people actually give a shit about, and the people who engage with their followers, and they're not just like a faceless, soulless, you know, brand thing. It's like I had like, it's so stupid. She was talking about how like they have all these different email inboxes for their company for different things, and she's like, yeah, and we'll reply to every single person that reaches out to us. and talk to them, and then like oftentimes close them on something or sell them some sort of program or point them in the right direction. And I'm like, am I an idiot? Like, why have I not been doing this? Like, why? Like, we have all these we have like our support inbox, but the rest of it is just like, it's all going to like this like bulk place, and we haven't really been giving it the love that it deserves. And I'm like, I'm like feeling a complete idiot. But anyway, long story short, to bring back to the Facebook, to the funnel. Yeah, I do feel like the more engaged you can be with your people, the better it's going to be for you long term, because like you want it to be so that if your brand disappeared tomorrow, people would actually give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, you want people to give a shit. Can we pause for 1 sec?
Yeah, give me 1 second. All right, perfect. We're back.
Cool. Yeah, I just my girlfriend was here and now she is gone. I felt like there was typing noise in the background. I don't want to make sure that you guys, I would, it would start to give me like tics if I'm hearing typing. So I figured it would make more sense to have no background noise. The other thing on this page is you'll notice we've got the food porn imagery in the background. We've tested a lot of stuff like this where it's like either an image or like sometimes we'll test like completely getting rid of background images, and like this like border here is the container. Sometimes we'll just get rid of the container so it looks like it's just all part of one page. Mm-hmm. I mean, we found that the food porn imagery, has been really good and had won in terms of conversions. This copy, I won't say that I wrote this. We have a great copywriter named Matt, and he wrote this for us. But it's basically, and frankly, I'm like more of a copy editor than a copywriter. So I can't really speak too much to like the specifics of the copy as much. It's, hey, I'm Pete. I've created this recipe cookbook. He mentions his family. I'm a chef. To be clear, I'm a Le Cordon Bleu trained chef, which is like a big deal if you're a chef. I've been featured in these magazines. And then we kind of differentiate ourselves a little bit as like in the paleo community, there's recipe books, but most of the recipe books are not created by actual chefs. They're created by just like hobbyists for the most part, or I learned this distinction from Pete, because as someone who is an actual chef and has spent, thousands and thousands of hours, literally just like cutting shit up in the kitchen, he takes that word seriously, and he should, because like it's a title that you earn from actually being a chef at like a restaurant or something, versus like some people call themselves a chef, but like, have they ever actually like cooked a meal for like 10 people? You know what I mean? Like maybe they cook at home, but like there's a big difference between being like someone who cooks and an actual chef. So the point is that we kind of just try to differentiate a little bit. I mean, this is just one sentence, but trying to differentiate us from other cookbooks is that this is actually chef created. So it's like super thorough, and the recipes in here, we know like you're not gonna have any issues with them, because it's like a guy who really, really, really knows his shit. I mean, you should see some of the videos we have with Pete, like the stuff he can do to a chicken and steak. I mean, it's just getting to make this product. We got to do a lot of video shoots at Pete's house, and we got to eat lunch like 3 times a day because we're cooking so much stuff. It's like the greatest experience. Highly recommend anybody to do videos for cooking, because it's free food, and it's not free. We paid for it, but you get to have someone amazing create food for you.
It's awesome food that you wouldn't have had without it.
Yeah. So then we just introduced the book. The name was honestly just for, like, there was actually a cookbook already named Paleo Eats, but I think we've sold way more copies of it now. We just went with Paleo Eats, and then Real Food, Real Simple. I think Pete just came up with that. It was super simple. I think a lot of people can get caught up in like taglines and that kind of branding stuff and names. Please don't. You don't need to do that. Like, there are some instances where names like really matter, but like if you're Coca-Cola, but we're not on that scale. And just frankly, unless it's like an insane name that's like the scientific reason behind blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, or something that's like in Latin, you're probably good. So Paleo Eats was very simple. And we have a follow-up dessert cookbook, by the way, that we're releasing soon. And you'll never believe the name of it. It's called Paleo Sweets. So we've got
real complex.
Yeah, it's super, this is rocket science stuff, Matt. You really gotta, it's rough. But yeah, so we
take years to get to that.
yeah. You guys just, if you're listening, and you're trying to get good at titles, just give up. You're never going to be as good as me. So like, being totally sarcastic, by the way. The point is that like, if you make a quality product, you know, the name should make sense, but you don't need to put in a ton of effort and like lose sleep over it. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter as much. We have, I forgot that I'm on camera. I'm like pointing at the screen with my pen. So then after we introduce the book, we start more food porn. Notice that theme, by the way, food porn, food porn, food porn. When it comes to cookbooks, it's like imagery is everything, you know? Yeah. And then we're just basically trying to make you drool down the paper, really twisting that drool knife. So we start showing samples of the recipes that they'll get. Then we have a little compilation photo here. We mentioned that all the recipes inside, by the way, are gluten-free, grain-free, dairy-free, soy-free, sugar-free, no processed ingredients. They're simple, quick, tasty. We remind them the benefits of eating paleo. We have Pete's before and after picture, which actually, interestingly enough, before and after pictures can get you in trouble on certain ad networks. And I think actually in theory, this isn't compliant for Facebook to have a before and after picture on your sales page, but for whatever reason, we haven't run into any trouble, and I never took it off. But something of note, but proof elements. I mean, here's the thing, like, in terms of copy, and this is from Gary Bensavengo, who's the greatest living copywriter, is like the more proof you can have on your sales, like literally proof is the most important thing for the most part, is like, if you can actually prove that what you're saying works, it's good. So when you have Pete, you know, on camera being like, this thing made me lose 60 pounds. By the way, here's a photo example of it. That's pretty compelling stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never forget, years ago, my mom emailing me or calling me or communicating with me in some form or fashion and being like, oh my God, I found this site, Truth About Abs, which is Mike Geary, my business partner's site. And she's like, you know, it looked kind of scammy. She's like, but there's just so many testimonials. It's just testimonial after testimonial. And she's like, she's like, should I get it? I was like, I'll get you a free copy. Don't worry about it. But like living proof, like the living proof of proof. Proof works insanely well. So we have some scarcity in here about the 500 people. I hate saying this on camera, but the truth is like, we're printing a lot of copies of these, but I'm not sure the legitimacy of this. I will not recommend doing false scarcity to people, but we do that. So please don't hurt me, Ryan, when you watch this video.
It's I guess it's a gray area for some people, you know. You can do it or you cannot. Don't go in the totally wrong area and just try and be super scammy and this and that. But when you are creating offers and having to create the scarcity, you do have to get creative with it. And, you know, like the countdown timers, you know, people have countdown timers. We've used them and then reset them, you know, when it's the same offer for someone else, just testing, because it's testing things too. You know, how else are you going to test if you can't change some of the stuff around and know what's working and what's not?
So I have a few thoughts on that. The first is that, like, when we say there's limited stock, we do mean it, because there is actually limited stock. Do we repurchase books and get more stock? Yes. But is there a limited stock at any given time? Yes. So that's kind of like a finagling with words, and that might not be ethical. People might not feel that's super ethical, but like in terms of ethics and having this kind of scarcity is like, here's the thing. With this kind of scarcity, if we were selling some sort of bullshit product that was like over-promising the world and wasn't delivering on that promise and was garbage and was hurting people, that's one thing. But like, first off, we're selling a cookbook, okay? And the cookbook is a great cookbook, and it has recipes in it, and you're paying $5.99 for it, like, and that's just the shipping fee. And ultimately, like, if that scarcity was the thing that pushed someone to actually take the step to buy our cookbook, and then they use the cookbook and they start getting results, they start losing weight, whatever it is, then I don't feel bad about it. Because ultimately, like, if I need to do something to push you a little bit over the edge for something that's going to actually help you in your life, I really don't I really don't feel too bad about it. I mean, there's definitely
I'm not going to sleep over it, and I wouldn't either.
no, because I'm not selling any. I mean, it's a high quality product, and I think that other people, like when you're selling your stuff, you should, unless you're selling shit, which I hope you're not selling, like you should feel the same way. It's like, you know, I don't think like there's a certain point where like it's over the top, right? Like I'm okay with like using words like limited stock thing that I was explaining. I'm okay with kind of the scarcity stuff here. There's like if you're over promising and stuff, that's another story where you're like getting into like legal territory. But like in general, if you're selling a high quality product, you should feel good about selling it, you know, as aggressively as you can within, you know, certain realms. Because if it's something that's helping people, then, you know, getting it in their hand is a good thing for them. So long story short, I don't really feel bad about the fact that we do have more than 500 copies of this book. Not to mention, and this isn't justification, everyone else is doing it. So like, I mean, that generally is never a justification, but it is the truth. So,
okay.
Another cookbook image with this big "It's free" stamp on it. We've got the button, ship me the book. We got the little mouse over it to make sure they know they can click on it. And there's a text link below. So we do the button plus text link. This is all one image, as you can see. Credit card symbols for security. Our recent customers. This is actually a script that refreshes and pulls from ClickBank. There used to be a tool called Very Purchase that would do this, and it would like scroll down as people bought. But I don't know. I couldn't get it. I think I tried to buy it, and like I couldn't get through the checkout process, and so I was just like, screw it, we'll do our own. Also, Very Purchase is a monthly fee for the tool, and it was like $30 a month. And I'm like, why would I pay $30 a month for this kind of tool when I can just build it, spend $200, and never have to pay again? So, I mean, granted, that means that I basically paid for like 8 months of the tool, but you know, we use it on the custom one on all of our pages, so the cost makes sense. So we have that. We've got the honesty, click to, you know, this is the verification thing. We actually should really get set up with, what the heck is it called? McAfee, Very Purchase, I think. And then there's Buy Safe and some other ones. Sometimes trust symbols actually will drop conversions. Like Buy Safe, for example, often will boost conversions, but sometimes it drops conversions because it puts this little triangle thing on the bottom left. And so what happens is if you land on this page, and let's say you just came here cold, and there's something that says Buy Safe on the bottom left, you're like, sales page. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, ooh, let's see what this says. Sometimes that'll happen. You'll see Buy Safe, and you're like, oh, shit, I'm being sold something. I'm out of here. But if that's not there, then they actually will read through the copy and get it. Also, at the same time, sometimes Buy Safe boosts conversions. So we have trust symbols here near the actual purchase area. We make sure that we mention that nothing will be rebilled on this offer ever, because very often people, or previously when forced continuity was more of a thing before it got just actually wrecked by the government, people would do free plus shipping stuff and have continuity attached to it. And
I recently had one of those, and I had to go and try and do a chargeback on it and all this stuff because it was a free plus shipping thing, and then bam, all of a sudden I'm getting charged a monthly fee for something that I don't even care to have.
Yeah, and I think that used to happen a lot, and I think a lot of people got burned on it, so we just want to make sure it's crystal clear that you're just paying for this, and there's no like rebills coming down the road that you're gonna freak out about. Then finally a close, and then we have testimonials down here. Signature of Pete. PS, don't forget to have a PS. With our PS, we basically always just remind them. Usually we remind them of the guarantee, but with the PS, we just basically say, by the way, get this thing before it goes away. So one thing that you won't see on this page is the typical 60-day money-back guarantee, which is what ClickBank basically makes you use. The reason why we don't do that, and honestly, I should probably put that on this page, but because it's free plus shipping, returns cost us money. It's not just like the refund, it's like we lose money on top of that. The thing is like, if people ask us for a refund, we always give it no matter what, and we're required to anyway, so we do. But I guess my theory was like we didn't want to put it on the page because we didn't want to like push people to do that too much, because it is a free. If you just pay $5.99 and then you like get, if you're an asshole and you get your shipping fee refunded, then I guess that might incur. I don't know, actually. The honest truth is, now that I'm saying this, I'm like, I should probably put the guarantee on this page and test that and see what happens. But the truth is that this offer, the refund rate on this offer is 0.5%. And that's over the 130 to 140,000 copies sold. 0.5%. That's not because we don't give refunds. I mean, we do if people ask. Like I said, we don't have it on the page. But the big reason for that is when people get a physical book, you know, to send, they know they have to send the book back to get a refund. And even if they didn't, we would still give them refunds anyway. But it's like, it just is that much more of a hassle for them to do it, and they just don't. And frankly, like, it's not just that. It's that I think they like the book, too. I hope that's the real core reason.
They like the product. And, you know, for me, if I wanted to ask for a refund of $6 for a free book that I got, I would feel like an asshole, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we don't guilt trip our people when they ask. I mean, we could be like, really, you want to get your shipping back on a free, but like, come on. But I guess we could if we wanted to be assholes about it. But yeah, so the refund rate on this is like extremely low. So okay, so then you click ship me the book, and this is the abandoned cart thing I was talking about. So this is where people add in their email address, and I'll just do a gibberish one, and hopefully it doesn't stop me. Let's do this. Hang on one second. I need to write something down too after reading that.
See, it's good to go through it.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is our ClickBank checkout page. So a few notes here is ClickBank allows you to put in this header. Oh shit, it's got the 60-day money back guarantee on there. That's so funny. Oh my God. This is great. I'm like, we don't do that. And then it's literally there on the next page. Hang on, guarantee. By the way, for those of you still here listening to me bumble around, note that you can make mistakes like this and still make a lot of money. So I mean, they're like, I think a lot of people get caught up in perfectionism and like, you know, like spelling errors and like stuff like that. And it's like, just get something up. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So ClickBank's order form is very simple. One thing that we did test is ClickBank has a thing called an order bump, and it's not, we're split testing not having them right now, but basically it's like a little checkbox that goes where my mouse is, where you can add something to your order. And initially we did it where it was like we had 3 things that you could add to your order for $5. And when we first did it, we're like, wow, each one of those has added an extra $1 order value to every purchase, and they work. But then, and so we let that run for a little bit, and then we did a retest of no order bumps versus order bumps, and it turned out, well, first off, ClickBank like tweaked how the order bumps showed up, and I think that affected conversions, but also turned out that people were taking the order bumps, but then they weren't taking any of our upsells. And so we ended up losing a ton of money on the funnel by having order bumps in. And so we've been like testing, like we're trying to get it so that we have order bumps that work and don't take away from people buying the upsells, but unfortunately we haven't quite figured that out yet. So that is something that I will say that anybody who's listening to this who uses ClickBank is, and again, this is kind of the thing after you're making, you know, consistent sales, is like, I wouldn't recommend just putting up if you have upsells, I wouldn't recommend just putting up order bumps and then just assuming it's going to make things better. And that's with anything, honestly, is like, don't make changes to your offer without testing them for the most part, because even things like an order bump where in my head I'm like, oh, it's guaranteed to make us more money, can actually drop conversions and make you less money. So that's something that you have to be very careful of. So after they purchase this, they're taken to upsell 1, which is, okay, so this is the first upsell page. So here's the deal. With free plus shipping offers, if I was going to do this again, this upsell would be Paleo Eats branded, and it would be very specific to the Paleo Eats cookbook. And so the way that free plus shipping funnels are able to really make back their revenue or their loss on the initial sale is through great upsells, and upsell number 1 is the most important part of that. So usually what works the best here is basically a complete the set sort of deal. So it's like you bought the Paleo Eats cookbook. Now you can get Paleo Eats desserts, Paleo Eats snacks, Paleo Eats dinners. And it's like 4 cookbooks or 5 cookbooks for the price of 1, or it's 10 cookbooks for the price of 5, or whatever it is. Usually the first upsell is like a complete the set sort of offer, or like a big bundle package. So because we had this upsell on a bunch of our other funnels and it was proven winner, we tested it here and it worked and it did what we needed to do. So we've kept that, and I haven't spent the effort to build out the Paleo Eats upsells, because the truth is that's like it really is a shitload of work. Because then I have to, it's not an easy thing to create like 4 cookbooks, because you have to actually make the recipes. So if each cookbook has like 50 recipes or something, like the hours spent on that is like astronomical. So we haven't done a huge amount of that, but we do have a lot of other cookbooks that we've tested. So anyway, first thing is it says you only see this page once. So key thing here is these are one-time offers. These are upsells. Usually the upsell format is, is this initial, like, this is your only time you're seeing this page, special offer for new customers. And then it goes into like, thank you for investing in the product, because you've taken the time to invest and because you care about yourself and your success, we want to offer you something else to add to your order that'll help you along the way. And just a reminder, this is your only chance to get this offer at this discount. So then we have the sales copy here. Like I said, I'm not the copywriter. And then this offer is dinners. So book cover, food porn, chicken recipes. I know this probably sounds super random to anybody listening, because the truth is it is super random, but it just works for some reason. Chicken recipes, food porn, sweet muffin recipes, food porn, and then bundle shot, add to my order. So this upsell is $29.99. It converts anywhere from 25 to 30%, which is solid. I've heard of other people with upsell ones that convert at like 45% for the same price point in these kind of offers. But like I said, I think the only way I could get to that kind of conversion rate is if it was like complete the set sort of offer. But it's just the amount of work that goes into that versus what the actual return is right now. It's just not worth it. But so it's add to my order, and then with a no thanks button here, which lets them decline. And then what else on this page? You got the money back guarantee, no thanks button again next to add my order. So yeah, this is upsell 1. Basically, is the biggest piece of making your money back on the front end. And so all of our upsells are currently digital. I'm not sure if I covered this yet. All of our upsells are currently digital. We're going to be testing physical soon. But I will see if that actually does better. But the issue with digital upsells on a physical product is that when someone comes to this page, our refund rate on this upsell flow is usually like, each one of these is like between 8 and 12%, which is really high. And the reason why it's so high is because even though we say it everywhere on the freaking page, everyone thinks they're getting more physical cookbooks in the mail. And but even with that refund rate, we still make enough money back to cover our costs on the front end. So that's why we're going to be testing doing it physical, because the refund rate will probably go from like 8 to 12% to like 1% or less. The issue though, and the reason why we haven't done it yet, is because like, okay, if we have these 3 cookbooks, that's 3 cookbooks that need to be printed. That's 3 cookbooks that need to be fulfilled, and 3 cookbooks that need to be shipped. So like, in reality, what I'll probably end up trying to do is combining them into one cookbook, because I'll have to probably change the page a bit, because if they are multiple cookbooks, the costs end up coming close to like, instead of being like less than $5 to print, fulfill, and ship, it ends up being like 12, 15, 20 bucks. And that's where we get to a point with like affiliate commissions and stuff, where we're like, numbers can get really tight. So it's something that we test very carefully, but has some potential. I also should mention, for free plus shipping books, our books are 6x9, and I think it's called Perfect Bound. It's not hardcover. But it is full color and everything. And the reason why they're 6x9, which like, do I have? I don't think I have a copy of the 6x9. But basically, like, first off, it's smaller page size, which means that it costs less to print. And then also, people actually like it more, I think, because first off, it makes it feel denser because it is shorter pages, so it's more actual pages in the book. And it's also more portable, which with cookbooks is actually, I think, a benefit. You know, I get a lot of cookbooks from Victory Belt Publishing that are beautiful. They're amazing cookbooks. They look ridiculously good, but they're like textbooks. You know, they're like these huge freaking things that are you got to lug around. And I mean, I think people like those too, for sure. But I'd imagine that like people can appreciate the portability of this cookbook a bit. You know, I think there's something to be said for that. So anyway, and overall, the bigger thing is like it saves us like over $1 per book to print, and that is a huge amount of money when we're talking about the scale we're talking about. We're like 140,000 books. That's $40,000 just from changing it from 8x11 to 9x6. So this is upsell 1. Hopefully I can get us to the right upsell 2. Okay. This is not, oh, this is actually not it. No. Hang on. Can you pause for a sec?
Yep. Hang on 1 second. Okay, cool.
All right, so this is upsell number 2. It's order step 3 because order step 2 is upsell number 1. Same story. You're only going to see this page once. This is our entire paleo cookbook bundle. So what this actually is we have another funnel called the Paleo X Cookbook, and then there's 3 upsells on that funnel. Oh, wait, hang on. Actually, let me just double check if I'm saying this right. Yeah, we have 3 upsells on that funnel, and this is the main cookbook plus all those upsells combined for $30. So they get freaking, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books with this, which is, by the way, another reason why this one is digital, because to print this shit would be like $35 or something crazy. And so like we have to sell it for like, I don't know, $90 to make it make sense, which is why like I have to combine some of these in one. So anyway, basically it's just more of the same, you know, and this page isn't amazing. Like you'll notice this paragraph is literally just all the titles in one spot. But it's basically just like the big bundle offer. And this does well too. It's got its money back guarantee. Add to my order, $29.95. We split test that versus $39 this one. Pretty straightforward, I think. Is there anything you want me to go through specifically on this one?
No, that's good.
All right, so
kind of see them.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just like upsell. The 2 upsells are more cookbooks, and then the third upsell is the DVD series that we made. And so my original intention with this funnel was to get the free plus shipping cookbook in people's hands, and then have upsell 1 be the DVD, and have that be the profit maximizer. But unfortunately, it just didn't convert that well compared to the cookbooks. I think people just wanted the cookbooks, so this ended up being pushed to upsell 3 because of its conversion rate. And like, it's sad because like we put extra effort into this one, and then it just like didn't do as well as we hoped. But like this has a video that's like, hey, it's again, thanks so much for purchasing the cookbook. It's on its way to you. We're in, you know, it's in the fulfillment center right now getting packed up, but I want to make sure you get our DVD as well. So basically this is the DVD series where it walks people through how to cook certain stuff and some of the specific recipes inside of the cookbook and how to actually do them, and some more. The truth is I should honestly take this and make it a front-end offer as well. Maybe make this DVD a free plus shipping DVD. But I just haven't done that yet. It's just like one of the things on my very, very long list.
Another thing on the list for later.
Yeah, my to-do list is like absurd. So this, I'm just looking at these links. I'm just making sure that the links are right. It's funny. Yeah, so these basically, we tested this at a higher price, $19.99 worked. Sure. This is funny. It's great that I'm doing this because I'm seeing all these things that we need to update and make sure. But yeah, so this is the
and that happened.
yeah. So this is the final upsell, and this is actually physical though, so people do get it. But we also have it as what's it called? They get a digital version of the videos as well when they order this.
Okay.
So that's the funnel, and then we have
the no thanks, Pete. I really don't enjoy cooking.
Yeah. I love that too. Let me see. Hang on. Let me find the download page for you because that's kind of an important. Ready to rock.
Okay.
So the final piece of all this, aside from the upsells, is the thank you pages. And by the way, I would highly recommend anybody who's selling a product to make sure that you have some offers on your download/thank you page. Because people are still in what is called like the buying frenzy. You know, like if you've ever been on Amazon and buy something and you get to the checkout and there's like 7 other things that they're like, people who bought this also bought this. You're like, oh, I need that thing too, and that thing, and that thing. That's just a normal purchasing behavior and process. So we make sure to put other offers in front of people, and usually they're free plus shipping offers, just because those seem to convert the best for thank you pages. So you purchase, you get to the thank you page. Please allow us to have 10 business days for shipping. Make sure to like us on Facebook, because Facebook is a good source of traffic for us. So we want to get people on there. We do a free jar of coconut oil from Thrive Market. This is a company that actually is down the street. I'm going to their office in a couple hours, but they're a big food startup, and we're promoting them here with the coconut oil. Then we have this reverse arthritis book, which I know seems super random, but it's like very much the perfect offer for our demographic because it's like people over 50 who usually have these kind of issues. And also just the data shows that it converts. And then we have 2 other free reports that funnel people into a company called BioTrust, and we make some lifetime commissions on that. And then the final thing is these text links, which are all affiliate links. I could probably optimize this page a little bit more, to be honest. And like I said, it's great that we're doing this because it's just reminding me of all the flaws we've got in this funnel. But I think the bigger point here is, and this because it's physical, that there's no, like usually I'll have like a product download. So like on our main cookbook sales page, we have the offers, and then we have all the items to download, and then we have the text links. Because it's a physical book, we just have the please allow 7 to 10 days for shipping. And then we make, like this one, for example, adds like maybe 50 cents to $1 average order value, which, you know, at high volume, like we're talking about here, and that's what these offers usually end up being, that is not insignificant. Like even 10 cents is not insignificant. You know, 10 cents of 140,000 books is $14,000. So each piece, you know, adds up.
Yep.
So that's the thank you page, and then like I mentioned, they go through an autoresponder sequence of 30 days or so that gets them to purchase our other stuff, and then leads to affiliate offers, and they get to our main broadcast list, and then they're done.
Awesome. I think that kind of gives an open kind of book for a lot of people to see how to do all of this.
Hey Matt, your mic is like super crackly and echoing right now.
Hang on.
Say something now. Yeah, it's better. Perfect.
Okay. I have no idea why this does it. It does that to Ryan's computer, and it does that to mine after about an hour.
Yeah, it's like, all right, you've been on the phone long enough.
Yeah, I don't know why it does it. He and I both have the same mic, and his does it after about an hour. It happens anytime we do webinars and whatnot, and it does it to me too. It's super odd.
That's funny. All right, I'm gonna stop screen sharing so we can get
no problem. No problem. Yeah, so no, I think it's awesome. Those gives everybody an inside look at your guys' kind of funnel and really seeing a different way of doing stuff. And to keep in mind, it doesn't have to be super crazy. Like this is a lot, obviously, further advanced than most people need. But you can start simple and then add a piece. It's what Ryan and I have been doing with a bunch of stuff that, you know, we've been working on for almost a year now. You know, started simple and then a little piece, and then another little piece, and another little piece, you know.
I think
from there.
to speak to that, one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the past couple of years is like I used to be a guy who like was looking for the home run every time, and I just wanted to get there as fast as possible, get to that big end result, that big like launch or whatever it is. And I've changed my mindset a lot just from like the logic of the fact that like doesn't really make a lot of sense. That's not like a really good strategy. But also like I guess like one of the big, well, first off, I've noticed that like if I just keep going and I take one step every day, eventually you've taken a shitload of steps and you end up at this big thing. And I think the thing that really kind of honed that in for me was when we started hiring employees, and I went to the Thrive market offices. And so like I mentioned, Thrive is like a startup that, I mean, you shouldn't really call them a startup anymore. I mean, they've gotten like insanely funded. They're like $100 million plus, whatever. But I went into their office, and after they had been like a year in, and they had 300 people working there already. And I walked in and I was like, holy crap. Like, I can't even imagine running a company this large. Like, it's ridiculous. And then what I realized is like, because I had been there I had also gone and met up with them in the early days when they only had like 5 or 6 people. And I was like, what really happened is like they just did this. They just did it really fast. So it seemed like it went from like 0 to 300. But what's really happening is like they're just adding one person at a time. And so like, yeah, you can come in and see the end result, and you could see that like, let's say you log in and you see someone's big product launch. But usually the model is just like if you just take one step and you keep improving, eventually you've improved so much that you do end up with that 300-person company or that $1 million launch or whatever it is. And it's I think like it's something that people need to really think about. Is just like get something going, get your foot in the door, and slowly open that door a little bit more, until it's fully open, and then you can you can keep going from there. I just think like that like Kaizen approach. It's also a lot less stressful. Yeah. to like you put a lot less pressure on yourself to be like amazing right off the bat, because nobody gets there immediately. I didn't make any money at all for the first probably like 3 years that I was trying to do stuff online. I still would love to make a lot more money than I do. I still am not anywhere near where I want to be, but I know that like if I just trust myself and keep going and keep improving, that I'll get there. And I think that anybody listening who's just getting started and like maybe listens to this interview or listens to another interview and sees someone who's like been doing this for a while talk about this stuff like it's nothing, and like it's like, I mean, how do I even start? Like, it's so much work. It's like you just got to do one thing at a time and get there and keep pushing, and if you're persistent, you'll do it. And I think I'm starting to repeat myself now, but that's the big that's the big point. I hope I didn't get too Gary Vee on everybody there, but
no, I think it's great, because it is a big thing that we see often. People asking us, it looks like a giant thing, and how the hell am I going to do it? But nobody started that way, and it's just one piece on top of another. So I appreciate it. It was a lot of awesome stuff. Definitely really kind of dove into it. So a lot of little pieces for everybody to go through. And I think a lot to open up their eyes and see the possibilities of what can happen in that one step on top of another on top of another. So thanks so much for taking the time, David.
Thank you for having me, man. I love being able to share. I love being able to give back, and I hope that this was valuable. I hope people could hear what I was saying and understand me, and there wasn't too much background noise. And
yep, it was perfect.
It wasn't too dark in my room, because my lighting in here, I guess, is not that great. And also I have the windows closed. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thanks, David. Bye.